Hello, welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason, and today we are back with another film review, actually two film reviews. We're going to be doing The Rental and The Outpost. I think I got both of these on Amazon.
Yeah, they're not tied down to any streaming service, so anywhere you can digitally rent movies, you can find these.
Exactly.
Whether it's Vudu or whatever.
Right. So today we'll be reviewing both of those films. Two very different films, I guess. The Rental's more of a horror film, and The Outpost is more of a military action film, if you will. So,
they both start with the word "the."
They do. They're very similar. They do. They're very similar.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I guess with that said, let's get right into it, man. I'm going to have you take The Rental since, I figured I'd give you The Rental since it's a little bit more your speed, horror, and The Outpost is probably a little bit more my speed, which is action. So we'll see how that works out for us.
Sure.
So we'll start off with The Rental. If you want to take it away, Jason.
Okay, so The Rental is the directorial debut of Dave Franco, who is James Franco's brother, and he's been in a lot of stuff. He's generally known for comedy, of course, being in Neighbors and The Disaster Artist, stuff like that. He's a funny guy. So this is his directorial debut, which I read about for the first time in a Fangoria issue a little while back. So I thought it was surprising that for his directorial debut, he's making a horror film, basically. And I thought that was interesting because A, I didn't know he was a horror movie fan, and B, it sounded like a good one. So it's about two couples who kind of decide to go to like an Airbnb, I guess, kind of. I've never done that. I don't know anybody who's ever done that, I don't think, but they decided to go rent somebody's home for a weekend, and as kind of a celebratory thing, a work celebration. And they go there, and it's pretty soon that you realize there are all these kind of simmering tensions, like relationship problems between the two. It's two brothers and their one wife and one girlfriend, I think. There's a whole lot of tensions underneath, sibling rivalry and unspoken attractions and all that kind of stuff that go on. And also, of course, because it is a horror film, there's also somebody watching them. It makes it pretty clear early on that has bad intentions for them. So it's kind of a slasher movie. It's kind of an artsy slasher movie is what it is, basically. I don't mean that as backhand praise. I really enjoyed this movie, basically. I thought the acting was really good. I thought the character development was excellent. I would have kept watching this movie even if I didn't know it was going to turn into a horror movie, because I thought the acting was really good, the characters were really good, and I wanted to see where it went, even without the horror stuff. Of course, I'm a horror nut, so of course I liked knowing that eventually at some point it was going to get nasty. Even though I liked the characters and I didn't really want anything bad to happen to them. It's kind of a weird thing for a horror movie fan in that situation, because you want things to get nasty, but you like the characters, so you don't want anything bad to happen to them. So that kind of tension, you know what I mean? And I should mention that it stars Dan Stevens, who a lot of people probably know from Downton Abbey, but I never watched that. But he's in The Guest and Eurovision and Legion on TV is really good. And Alison Brie, who's in Mad Men, that's where I know her from. And Sheila Vand, who was in Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which was really good. So basically, I really enjoyed this movie. The acting was good.
The other brothers from Shameless, if you ever watched that show.
Okay, yeah. See, I knew I recognized him, but I've never watched Shameless. So, but I thought it was really well written, really well acted. And then when it does get nasty, it is very suspenseful, because by that point you are invested in the characters. If I had one criticism, it's that I wish, I felt like it could have ended with a little more oomph. There's always, with these movies, where it makes you wait for things to get horrific, I guess you could say. There's always a point at which it's made you wait just a little too long. And I thought this movie maybe crossed that line, because it doesn't really get scary until the last 20 minutes. And that's not really a diss on it because everything before that's good and everything after that's good. But I felt like it could have evened it out just a tiny bit more and made for a little bit more of a strong conclusion. But that's really my only gripe. I thought it was a really well done film. I'm glad Dave Franco is apparently a really solid director in my favorite genre. So that's good. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a well done film. Sorry, my eye was bothering me there. It was a well done film. It was a well done film. I agree with you 100%. It takes so long for the horror to get going. I mean, and yeah, you're reminded of it because it kind of makes it obvious that somebody's watching them throughout the film, so you're always kind of reminded that there is that horror element there. But it takes so long for the horror element to kick in that I almost forget that it's even a horror movie. You know what I mean? It's more of a, because 90% of the film is or 80% of the film is mostly like a relationship movie and about tension between the two couples and attraction between the two couples and this kind of stuff. And so it's really it takes so long that I was enjoying that story. I was enjoying to see how that story was going to unfold. And it's kind of weird to say if it wasn't a horror movie and they just had just the tension between them and how that was going to unfold, I probably would have been fine with that. You know what I mean? Like it almost felt like the horror was an afterthought, you know what I mean? Because that was really the main focal point of the film, in my opinion, was the tension between the couples. And that was some interesting stuff, and, you unfortunately, you don't learn a whole lot about, what's going to happen to them until it already really starts happening. And it's pretty abrupt and quick when it does happen. And there's not a whole lot of time that's spent on the horror, in my opinion. And then, like you said, and then my only minor gripe was I felt like the ending kind of was like, kind of just like kind of fizzled out for the ending. And I get what they were going for, and I don't want to give any spoilers or anything like that. And I get why they did what they did. And then I get what they were going for with that. But I felt like that part, like, I guess the aftermath or whatever you want to call it, went on a little bit too long, in my opinion. I was like, okay, I get what's going on here. You don't have to keep showing this. You know what I mean? So that was my only small gripe with it, but I thought the story itself was really, really good, and I really loved the tension between the two couples, and I know you're a big horror guy, but in my head I was like, you almost didn't even need to make this a horror movie. You could have just made it a really interesting story about these couples staying in this Airbnb, and they start discovering things about each other in that house. And I think that would have been almost just as good of a story, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of my overall take on it. So
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. But I do, when it gets to the horror, it is really well done also.
Oh yeah, the horror is really good. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to gloss over the horror not being good. It is really good. I just was really enjoying that story. You know what I mean? I was really enjoying that story, and it kind of resolves before or during the horror element of it, but it kind of felt like they could have even expounded upon that a little bit more almost. You know what I mean? That's all I was meaning by that. But the horror element was really good as well. And that definitely did, hit kind of abruptly, and you're like, oh wow, okay, here we go. It's go time. You know what I mean?
It's go time. And I got really amped up, and then it was over. And again, it's enough. It's enough. I really liked it. But like just spreading it out a little bit more would have been great. I do think that it needed to be a horror movie because I read an interview with Dave Franco that what made him want to do this movie is the concept of Airbnbs. I think I've never done this, but he said in the interview that like he's always thought that was a really strange concept that we just willingly stay in a complete stranger's house. And I mean, just the possibilities of that are super creepy. And I don't think I was ever going to do that, but after this movie, I definitely don't want to do that anymore. But I think that's the concept, and I think he wanted to make the characters really interesting because that's what makes a horror movie good is interesting characters. yeah, it was just like they were almost so interesting that you didn't want the horror to come in. And that's the thing.
I can see what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never personally stayed in an Airbnb. I actually looked into one because there's 5 of us, so when we travel, sometimes it's hard to get the room set up in a hotel. You know what I mean, to where everybody's kind of comfortable in their own space, and it can be really expensive to rent 2 or 3 rooms when you're staying in a hotel. So that everybody has their space is large enough to accommodate 5 people. And so an Airbnb actually sounded like a good idea to me at the time when I was looking into it, but I ended up finding another option. But I definitely. What's that?
Just don't take any showers.
Yeah, just don't take any showers. But yeah, it is that concept that you don't know what's in that person's home or you know what I mean. It's just kind of it is a weird setting, but from what I've heard.
It sounds like it could be cool in some situations, but it's also very strange just to willingly go into some complete stranger's house and stay there.
Well, my other thing is being the homeowner and having weird people come into my house and stay in there, knowing whatever they're going to be doing in that, you know what I mean, in that house. You know what I mean? That's my other thing. From
I'm sure there's all kinds of agreements you have to sign and all that.
Right, but I mean, there's just but if nobody's there who's following all those agreements. You know what I mean? Right. Clearly, the people in this movie didn't follow all the agreements.
No dogs, right?
Yeah, no dogs, and they sneak in a pet. So, but cool. All right. Well, yeah, great summary. Well, what is your? Oh no, actually, we're going on to the second film. We'll do that at the end. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
My apologies. So that's the rental. So.
Thumbs up.
Yes. The second film, which is typically a little bit more my speed, is called The Outpost. And it's based on a true story. It's got obviously a few stars in it. It's based on a true story about, I guess it's during the war at Iraq or Afghanistan. And I can't remember. Yeah, it's during the war. It's doing the war in Afghanistan, and it's basically about these soldiers that are basically holding down a military, an army base kind of outpost that they've set up. And there's a lot of characters. I mean, there's a lot of military personnel that I should say. There's like 30 people or something like that. And they're basically holding up this outpost, and right outside of the outpost is like the Taliban. And then like maybe even some just regular other Afghanistans that are occasionally shooting at them at the base, and then they have to go out and shoot back and kill regular Afghanistan or Pakistani or Taliban people or whatever case may be. And that's pretty much the first part of the movie for the most part is that's kind of like what happens. It's like, they're outside, they're talking, they're shooting the breeze, and all of a sudden they're getting shot at. And then now they have to go and retaliate and shoot back or send a grenade over and kill these people. And that's kind of how the first part of the film goes. But I guess what's really based on the true story is what happens in the latter half of the film, where I guess the base or the post is going to be shut down. And maybe somehow, some way, word gets to the Taliban that they're shutting it down, and they send hundreds of fighters to come in and try to kill and attack and basically take over that outpost there. And it's basically the military personnel fighting back. A lot of them are getting killed, a lot of them die, a lot of them get injured, and it's basically just a military film. Pro-military, kind of similar to, I guess, if you say like Black Hawk Down. I hate to kind of throw in that conversation, but it's kind of that same similar situation where it's basically they're being attacked on all sides and they're having to band together and fight in order to survive. And obviously, Black Hawk Down is also another true story as well. Overall, I liked it. I felt like it. Obviously, I feel like I've seen this story play out before. In other similar films. There was the other one with the dude from The Office where he's like with the consulate.
13 hours?
I'm sorry?
Was it 13 hours?
Yeah, 13 hours. Kind of in the same vein as that, where it's like, the same thing. They're trying to, they're being attacked, or they're trying to save somebody, the people being attacked at the consulate and that kind of stuff. And I guess I like these films, but my problem is they always feel like a military pro-military join up and sign kind of films in some capacity to me. I always feel like and they spend a lot of time kind of like covering like all the medals and stuff like that for bravery and honor and all that. So which is all good stuff. I enjoy my parents were in the military. I got nothing against the military or anything like that, but they always kind of feel like one of those like hoorah join up and you know what I mean, kind of save your country kind of thing, is what I always get a feeling from it. But the action's good. It does get very, very suspenseful towards the end. It's a fine story. Is it something that I would watch again? I don't know. But I don't know. Overall, I enjoyed it. So not a bad film. What was your take on it?
I really liked it. I thought it was a really strong war film. I liked that the whole like first half of the movie pretty much really was no story, and I kind of like that. I kind of liked that it was kind of just a day in the life kind of thing of being in this completely indefensible spot because they're like right in the middle of all these mountains where anybody
they're like kind of sitting ducks basically in that.
Yeah, they are
spot.
sitting ducks, and it's kind of like a day in the life of, and it's just like they're basically naming the chapters of the story after their commanding officer because it keeps changing. They keep dying or being relocated or something. And I liked that there was kind of a day in the life. And then the whole second half was just like this incredible like siege movie. You know what I mean? Just like it did remind me of Black Hawk Down for a lot of reasons. Also that, I can't really tell the characters apart and they all.
And I was gonna say that was my only gripe with it is they throw out so many names and in the beginning they start going through like all the names and this kind of stuff and these are real people obviously so it's important that they wanted to get all the names and I get that's why they did that. But it's like 30, 40 people. There's no way I'm going to remember any of these people's names. So when they're talking about certain people or, I remember their faces, but I don't remember what that guy's name was or who that was or who this person was. And that was my only, I guess, small gripe is that there are so many names that you're never going to learn all those names. So.
Right. Yeah. And yeah. But I thought it kept my attention and it was really suspenseful and like audio visually, it's really good. And actually, I'm someone who would be like, I don't want a war movie to be hoorah, flag waving, that kind of thing. And I actually didn't get that impression from this movie. I thought it did hold back. It didn't make it look fun. It didn't make it look like a fun experience to be in this place because you have to be, that's, poorly thought out to even put a outpost there is what I took from it. So I thought it was pretty light on the flag waving aspect of it, which is something I liked. I thought it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't glamorizing it, but it wasn't, downgrading it either. It was just kind of like, this is what it's like, and it's not fun, but it's in, debatably in the, depending on the situation, of course, in the service of the greater good or whatever, but I thought it was really good. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I liked it. And I thought, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but yeah, I was worried because one of the main actors in the like on the left there is Clint Eastwood's son, and there's also in there Mel Gibson's son. So I thought, oh man, this is going to lean on the flag waving big time. But I didn't think it did really. I was surprised. By one thing, Caleb Landry Jones, who's on the right there, he's an actor. He's known from he was in Get Out. He's been in a lot of movies. He always plays like kind of a weirdo outcast, and usually kind of a creepy weirdo outcast. And he's kind of an outcast in this movie too. But it's kind of the story of the outcast who pulls through in the end, But he's doing this thing, and I think he's a really good actor in general. But in this movie, he's doing this thing that's one of my pet peeves, which is he seems to be thinking that like the harder I'm acting and the more spit that's flying out of my mouth and dangling off my chin, the more dramatic it is. And it's just like I not that that doesn't always work, but it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, it'd be a lot more convincing if you didn't just let the spit hang out over your chin the whole time. You know what I mean?
You're probably
the normal person would do this.
you're probably not getting an Oscar for this film. So,
So I mean, he's fine, but it's one of my pet peeves. It's like, because you can tell the actor's thinking, I'm really selling this if I just spit a lot, and it just leave it hanging out there. And it's just like, come on, the normal person would reflexively do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, but he's good. But that bugs me.
Understood. Understandable.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's go back and do our grades for these films. So we'll start with The Rental. The overall grade and the face you would give that one.
I would give The Rental a 4 out of 5, a B+, which is this face. So nice, strong smile.
Cool.
Yep.
I liked it quite a bit.
You want to remove the poster there?
Well, we're getting ready to talk about that one anyways. Okay. No, I liked it. I actually liked it quite a bit. Like I said, I really was digging the story. I don't know, just something about me was really digging that story and how that was all going to unfold. But I did really like it. I think I'm actually going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. And
whoa.
I know it's like the highest grade I give, right?
It's like your highest rating.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5, and I'm going to give it this face, which is a smile with some teeth, pearly whites.
Cool.
So,
well, pearly yellows anyway.
All right, and then moving on to The Outpost, grade you would give that one, and the face you would give that one.
I would also give that a 4 out of 5. Actually, a B+. So this face, same one, nice, strong smile. Again, they're both B+ to me. But as you pointed out, if I was going to rewatch one, it would probably be The Rental because I'm more of a horror guy. But I thought The Outpost was a really well done war movie.
Yeah, I'm more of an action guy, but I probably would rather rewatch The Rental personally. I did like The Outpost though, so I think I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 on this one, and I'll give it a smile. Probably no teeth though.
Cool.
Oh, hey man, that's where I am. That's how I get down. But yeah, no, both great films. I did enjoy both of them. Like I said, definitely check out either one of them. Let us know in the comments if you've seen either one, or if you check it out, let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts were. Did you enjoy The Rental? Did you like The Outpost? Are we both right? Or are we both wrong? I'm always right. He's sometimes right, but he's usually wrong a lot. Let us know in the comments down below. And as always, if you like the channel, we ask that you give us a big like and a thumbs up, and obviously subscribe. And then, as always, make sure you hit the bell notification so you get updated for any of our new videos that we'll be posting, and you don't miss out on the discussion and the commentary. We hope you have a great day, and we'll be seeing you guys all again real soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.